We have been talking about stablecoins all year long, but it's because we continue to see massive moves being made around stablecoins. And we're no longer in the speculative phase of if we think stablecoins will be a huge part of even the US government and even the global monetary system. We no longer have to speculate about that anymore. The US government has fully embraced stablecoins. This is leading to other nations doing the same thing, but also on top of that, the global M2 supply now has 1.2% in just stablecoins alone. This will only continue, especially since we have the world's largest bank, JP Morgan, diving into tokenized deposits, which is basically their own stablecoin. I mean, it's just crazy to see what's been happening around the stablecoin market over just the last 7 months alone. But on top of that, we have this post here. Latest, stablecoins now account for 74.6% of institutional crypto trades. USDC Circle had the strongest performance, 29x volume growth from last year. Executive Director Bo Hines expects the crypto industry will explode to $15 to $20 trillion once stablecoin legislation is passed. Now, here we have the metrics, right? OTC spot trading volume up 121% year over year. Stablecoin transactions as percentage of total trades, 75%, up from 46% in the first half of 2024. Growth in number of transactions, 154% year over year growth as well. Stablecoins are absolutely massive. They continue to only grow more and more and more. This is something that every single crypto holder should be watching, because what does this mean for the underlying networks in this space? It means that we are going much higher on the networks that are facilitating these trades, that have these stablecoins issued out on top of them. And it also means that crypto as a whole is now starting to become a very, very serious piece of the global monetary system. Something that we have speculated on for years, and it's now becoming a real thing. Now, on top of this, if we go over here to this metric, the stablecoin market hit a new all-time high in June, growing 1.58%. That is 21 straight months of growth, reinforcing stablecoins as one of crypto's most consistent sectors. And yeah, it's because stablecoins are now being utilized around the world, and we continue to see huge moves being made to make sure that the world embraces stablecoins in a huge way, but also it's really driven by these institutional players and even the government sector. Now, we also have from Sergey from Chainlink, stablecoins might flip crypto's market cap in 2 to 3 years. The co-founder of Chainlink shared that RWAs will soon outnumber native crypto assets, reshaping the industry's core identity. This shift will spark massive financialization, with regulation acting as an enabler. Two big opportunities for crypto devs: buy-side payments, make stablecoins work reliably at scale; asset issuance, create tokenized products with good risk and return. And this is going hand in hand with what Bo Hines is saying. $15 to $20 trillion once stablecoin legislation is passed. Yeah, stablecoin legislation is going to set the stablecoin market on a path to becoming one of the biggest pieces of the crypto space. But it's not just about the crypto space. It's also about the traditional financial sector. Now, when we think about this, right, what am I really looking at? Well, number one, I'm looking at when we get legislation. David Sachs said that he wants to introduce this bill before August recess, mark up the first week of September, done by the end of September. This is what he wants to do with the market structure legislation, as well as the stablecoin bill. So if we think about what this means, we can have clarity for the entire crypto market and have stablecoin legislation done by the end of September. That is 2 months out. This could open up the market in a massive, massive way. He already said that July will be a big month with a bill signing for Genius and Clarity going to the Senate. We are running out of time to be a part of the unregulated side of crypto. And once this space is regulated, I do believe that we are going to wake up in a huge way and go way higher than we ever thought possible. This is where the multiples come into effect, because we are going to see the adoption scale rapidly. We're also going to see mass adoption become a reality very fast. And it all starts with proper legislation. And what's crazy about this is that the Fed even said that stablecoins are a positive step and confirms that regulatory framework is underway. Now imagine real-time cross-border settlement under that framework. That's XRP's lane, utility, compliance, and speed. Check it out.
Let me say on stablecoins, if I can.
Yeah.
I do share the concerns that you hear here, but I also think it's a positive step that we don't have a regulatory framework for these now in the United States. We tried very hard in the last Congress to work with people on both sides of the aisle to create such a thing. Now it looks like we're well on the way to creating a framework, which I think is something we need. If we're going to have stablecoins, and apparently we need to have a federal and state level regulatory framework, which I think we're making progress towards having.
And even the Fed knows that we are about to have legislation, and this is about to open the floodgates to stablecoins. Now, when we think about stablecoins, I'm thinking about RLUSD, because right now, yeah, Circle is the dominant force right now, but RLUSD is growing quickly, especially if you compare it to other stablecoins. While growth is more or less stagnant amongst the top 10 stablecoins by market cap, Ripple USD grew with an impressive 51% over the last 30 days. Monthly transfer volume is up 89%. Those are some impressive numbers, and big shout out to Anderson for this. I have been watching RLUSD closely, right? When we think about what's really happening here around Ripple with RLUSD, they're making some of the biggest moves right now that's going to allow for RLUSD to expand rapidly and possibly even catch up to USDC and Tether. It might not happen overnight, it might not happen this year, but I do believe that RLUSD is going to be one of the biggest stablecoins in this market. You got to remember that RLUSD only launched back in December, and in 7 months, we went from 0 to over 400, and I think that we're actually at like almost $470 million in market cap. And the holders, the monthly transfer volume, all of it is waking up. And it's because of all of the moves being made around RLUSD as well. Now, when we think about that, right, we look at how much RLUSD is constantly being minted. We just saw 16 million, followed by 14 million, followed by another 14.5 million. So think about this, right? We just saw 44.5 million RLUSD minted. And this is in just a few days. This is from June 27th to July 3rd. And this is accelerated by all of the moves being made around RLUSD. And we'll talk about that here in a second, but I also want to address the fact that we are starting to see the battle around stablecoins accelerate. Like I said, all of these other nations are watching what the US is doing. We have China's tech giants like Alibaba's Ant Group are urging the central bank to authorize yuan-based stablecoins to counter the growing influence of USD stables. We are going to see this stablecoin war really breaking out, and this is only going to, make stablecoins a much bigger piece of the global monetary system, because as we start to see this race back and forth to make sure that they have a dominant stablecoin and that they could move away from the US dollar as well, you got to remember that stablecoins actually could be minted in any fiat currency. Once we start to see nations really authorizing stablecoins in their own fiat currencies, and companies like, for an example, Ant Group tapping in and adopting stablecoins around specific currencies like yuan, that's going to accelerate the stablecoin war. It's going to grow stablecoin value on chain. It's going to grow the volume and value moved on chain through these stablecoins as well. It's going to affect the underlying networks. This is extremely bullish for the entire market because it means more value exchanged on these networks. It means a much larger network effect as well. That's not coming from, hype from meme coins or anything like that. No, it's coming from real world utility, real world value being moved 24/7, 365. This is going to be a huge thing to focus on. Now, also at the same exact time, let's think about all of the moves being made around RLUSD in just the last month or so. It started back on June 3rd, right? We saw a huge update around RLUSD being recognized as a crypto token under the DFSA's regime in Dubai. It's enterprise grade, compliant, and built for real utility. This was a huge step because it expanded their footprint in the DIFC and across the UAE. This was on June 3rd. Then we also saw this one on June 24th with Aeon and Ripple to team up to bring XRP and RLUSD to real world payments. This was definitely a big one because it's 20 million plus merchants that could be from retail stores to even restaurants. Also, what's crazy about this is we witnessed another move in between there with Alchemy Pay. Alchemy Pay actually added RLUSD to their on-ramps and off-ramps, which is accessible into 173 countries. This was also a big deal. And this was quickly followed up with some additional big moves being made. Like, for example, this one, which was Ripple is applying for a national bank charter from the OCC. This will allow RLUSD reserves to be held directly with the Fed and provide an additional layer of security to future-proof trust in RLUSD. This will also accelerate institutional adoption around RLUSD. Then we got this one on July 2nd, which was Ripple and OpenPaid are expanding access to fast, compliant cross-border payments. With Ripple payments now supported by OpenPaid's real-time Euro and GBP rails and direct RLUSD minting and burning, enterprises can seamlessly move between fiat and stablecoins. Then we got a huge update with BitMEX. BitMEX has become the first exchange to allow RLUSD as margin for its derivatives trading platform. And it didn't stop there. Amina Bank added RLUSD as well. And this is huge because this is at a bank in collaboration with Ripple. Amina Bank enables a regulated, secure, and seamless way to custody and trade RLUSD, ideal for both institutions and individuals who demand clarity, compliance, and control. And they just break down exactly what's happening around RLUSD with, of course, the bank. But this is huge. And it didn't stop there, right? We witnessed so much big attention on RLUSD in just the last month alone, which accelerated the growth of RLUSD, which is exactly why I brought up what Anderson was talking about. We continue to see the volume and the value moving up on the list for RLUSD. And this reminds me back to what Brad Garlinghouse told us, right? We go back to March 19th of this year. He said that he anticipates that RLUSD will rank among the top 5 stablecoins by the end of the year, while also predicting significant growth for the stablecoin market. If this is true, if this is what they are planning to do with RLUSD, make sure that it is, in the top 5 by the end of this year. Just for reference, right now, RLUSD has about $470 million tied to it. If we are going to be in the top 5, that means $4.6 billion. We have a lot more growth for RLUSD to expect by the end of this year. And that's within currently 5 months. We have 5 months left to really see RLUSD accelerate the growth, accelerate the volume to get into the top 5. But listen closely.
If you think about the next forefront of stablecoins now that the U.S. is getting toward clarity, what's possible?
Well, I think we're underestimating how big that might get. Today that market's about $230 billion. So I think some smart people think that may go up 10x in the next 5 years. I think that's probably right. I mean, the two leading players in Tether as well as USDC are both, I think, poised to do well in that market. Ripple launched our own stablecoin at the end of last year. That's already ahead of our own internal forecasts in terms of where we are at this point in the year. Still, we're small, but the goal is by the end of the year for RLUSD, Ripple's stablecoin, to be one of the top 5 in the market by the end of the year. And I think the whole market's going to grow dramatically over this year.
So what does it take you to get there? Who are you pairing up with? Are you creating some financial partnerships in order to make RLUSD more of a household name?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even today we had more listings go live for RLUSD on some global crypto exchanges. Anytime you do something new, it takes a minute for that kind of, if the pun of the ripple effect of seeing how that plays out. And so we're seeing that happen in real time. So I'm really pleased. And again, as I said, we're ahead of our Q1 forecasts of where we expect it to be. So we feel really good about that progress.
And yeah, all of these moves that I just went over, right? All of these moves will lead to RLUSD adoption accelerating, growing, and that's what will set RLUSD on a path to becoming a top 5 stablecoin. Now, right now, most of the value around RLUSD is on Ethereum. I do expect that to change significantly. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I'm very excited about all of this. The confirmation from the major players like the Fed, or even just the US government alone telling us, right? Scott Bessent has been telling us that stablecoins will be utilized as a tool for the US dollar. That's huge confirmation that stablecoins are not going to slow down. No, they are only going to continue to accelerate in a much larger way. This is something everyone in this space should be paying attention to, because this will affect the underlying networks in a big way, in a very positive way as well. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, set notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord on the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.